Hi, and welcome back to CTLA4 Chronicles. This update is going to be on me and how my, post bone marrow transplant journey is kind of going. Um, Frustrating. It's going frustratingly. um, I am 100% chimerism, which means I'm 100% donor, but my T cells haven't really recovered. And I talked about this a little bit before. We're actually going to recheck them on Tuesday next week when I go up to Boston. We're also going to check some other things like my thyroid, um, and then like the regular labs, which is a ton that they do to make sure I don't have any viruses or fungal infections or bacterial infections, to check like my electrolytes and my blood counts and stuff, because my red blood cells, hemoglobin, and something else haven't really responded aside from my T cells. And my platelets dropped considerably in like a 2 week period. So I'm hoping that like I'm at least stable, or these things have kind of improved, because they took me off the tacrolimus, which is an anti-rejection medication that I've been on since I had the transplant in February. It's also like super surreal to even like say some of this out loud. Be like, I had a bone marrow transplant. I'm still like, wow. Anyway, so I'm hoping that that stuff is maybe stabilized a little bit, because they said I was slow to recover and they weren't really sure why, and that it could be due to the underlying disease, which would be the CTLA4 genetic mutation. And that would be really frustrating. When they said that, a few weeks ago, I was kind of disheartened, because I don't know a lot of adults that have had a transplant for CTLA4 that have like recovered really well and are doing great. I did talk to one woman who said she had a transplant a few years ago, and like she's back to pretty much living normal life without really a lot of complications. But mostly everybody else I've talked to has not. So I'm hoping that it's just like taking a little bit longer, because I was on the meds longer because of this like issue with my muscles and the GVHD and whatever. So we'll see. And I've also been dealing with like just fluid retention, which is super frustrating, because like it's making me gain weight, and it's just like everything is swollen and I feel like a giant water balloon that's ready to pop. And like it doesn't matter how much water I drink to try to flush it out of my system, or how much I walk, or any of that. It's just like it doesn't go away. It fluctuates a little bit during the day, but like even my face swells, and where like my glasses sit on my face, they leave imprints. When I do my makeup and I'm like doing my eyeliner and my fingernails touch my face for the 30 seconds it takes to do the wing, I have imprints from them, which is crazy. uh like obviously my legs swell a ton if I try to like squat down or like sit on my knees. My calves are so swollen and tight, they feel like they're gonna pop. And it's the same thing like with my shoulder blades and my arms and stuff. Like even just doing this and putting my arms back, like my back is swollen, and you can see how tight my skin gets. And it's just like, why is this happening? And my transplant team said it could be some of the side effects of coming off the prednisone, even though I didn't have them as bad when I was on like the higher dose, as I'm coming down. And like the fact that I'm on estrogen, and that impacts all of this, and this creates this like toxic effect from the steroids. All of that combined is probably why I'm like just absolutely so uncomfortable in my skin. And we're going to check my thyroid to make sure that that's not playing a part in any of this, because I do have like Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism. So I'm on thyroid medication, and like whatever damage was done to my body pre-transplant from the disease, I'm probably going to be left with all of those problems. But there's a chance that like some stuff could be repaired. And like really the transplant was to stop the progression of disease. And sometimes I have to remind myself that I said before I even went into transplant, if it cured me and I was still stuck with everything else and had to deal with everything else, and it would still be worth it. Um, and it's hard, because I'm still isolated. I don't have an immune system. I can't go out and do things. I can't really see people. So it gets lonely. And then dealing with like all of the side effects from either medications or just the transplant in general, or just like how my body is reacting, can be incredibly frustrating. And then like trying not to get sick, and like if my kids have sniffles or anything, like I have to treat it like they're sick. I can't assume that it's allergies, and like that just puts a lot of stress and strain on the house. And then I also like can't handle stress anymore. Like it has literally almost killed me twice. And like before my transplant, I used to thrive in stress. And that was probably also what was killing me because everything was stressful. Work was stressful and like very stressful. Anybody that works at the company I worked at will tell you how stressful it can be. 3 kids in general is stressful. And then you've got sports and everything else, managing schedules, all the doctor's appointments, the fact that my health was failing was just a perpetuating cycle of stress. But I like would do okay kind of until the end. And then I started crashing a lot with a lot of stress. And that's what happens to me now. If I get too stressed out, and I don't even have to like realize that I'm as stressed as I am, but if I get too stressed out, either by people or situations or like my health, I crash and I end up like on the couch. Like I can't eat, like my GI system almost shuts down. It's crazy. I can't eat. I'm in a ton of pain. Trying to stay hydrated is almost impossible. I usually wait until I'm like very, very sick before I admit that I need help and have to go to the doctor, which is probably dangerous. But I also don't want to ever get readmitted. So I try to do as much as I can at home. I don't know. All of this is hard. And anybody who's been through like cancer treatments or a transplant, knows what I'm talking about and knows like how absolutely difficult all of this is. And like you can be incredibly happy to be alive and be here. And I'm thrilled. Like I woke up this morning and mentally I'm in a great headspace, but physically, like this is all very hard and very frustrating. And like the maintenance it takes on a daily basis to keep myself going. Like I wake up and I have to take medication. If I don't, it could cause serious side effects and probably kill me. I have to take medication in the middle of the day for the same reasons, and especially nerve pain, and it's getting colder out. So like my nerve pain is kicking back up and that's sucky. And then I have to take meds before I go to bed for these same reasons. I have to make sure that I'm drinking a minimum of 60 ounces of water a day. And I usually drink more than that, but I also have to make sure that I'm eating. And that one's hard, especially when I've got, all of this swelling going on and I'm feeling uncomfortable in my own body, like physically, but then also mentally, where I'm like, this is not the weight that I've ever been at. The way I just look in general is not how I've ever thought that I would have looked. And I struggle with that. So like eating can also be a struggle because all of the reasons. Making sure that I listen to my body is incredibly difficult because I want to do things. And whether it's even just like doing like art projects or little stuff around the house, because I'm really not supposed to be like cleaning or doing anything, even though I do sometimes. It's hard to listen to my body and be like, all right, I can't do that. And I have to just like relax today and like, let's pick a movie or something. And like, I have a very hard time just sitting still. So it's a lot. All of it's a lot, especially, 8 months out and I'm still here and they're telling me I could be here for another 18 months. So that kind of sucks. But I will post another update next week. Hopefully our podcast room is going to be set up and I have this, other cable coming in from Amazon. And we can post like a real update on Catalina and myself because we've got those back-to-back appointments. Thank you for supporting and sharing and liking our page and everything else. The more you do that, the more people we reach, the more people that have reached out and we've been able to help them. So like seriously, even just liking it puts it on other people's pages. So thank you guys for the support.